What's up, guys? This is the book 4 Essential Keys to Effective Communication in Love, Life, Work, Anywhere. This book is by Bento C. Leal III. So let's do quickly a little author review. The guy, he's a certified relationship skill trainer, which is, I thought, very interesting. The guy, he starts his own workshops, really starting in 2005. I'm an older guy, but really got underway in 2005 to teach people all across the country relationships, communication. I mean, he teaches to people in prison, people in churches, family centers, just different things like that, schools as well. So a very practical person versus someone who's extremely learned, though he is learned, but also just, I think, highlighting more so on the practical sense. So the rating of the book was a 5.2 overall. I gave, for author credibility, I gave him an 8. It might have been a little lower, but I gave him an 8. I thought he spoke well. The author's ability to speak to the topic, gave him a 6. The PV connection, I put it as a 4. And then my personal feel for reading the book, I gave it a 5. And then my recommendation, I gave a 3. And the reason is, once again, it was a good book. I really enjoy reading all these books. But I didn't think it was super essential for us to go out and read this book because it's 4 simple skills that he lays forward that really all other books will speak about. I mean, he didn't really say anything new. There was a couple cool concepts that I pulled from the system for the systems proposals, but other than that, it was just a pretty generic book that speaks about 4 skills. So the first skill was empathetic awareness. And so we have to be aware of other people and we have to have empathy for them. The second skill was empathetic listening. And so we have to listen. Third was empathetic speaking. And then the fourth skill is empathetic dialogue, which is that combination of speaking and listening. So going right into it, he lists the definition of empathy because, as you can tell, the whole book is really about empathy, being able to put yourself in the shoes of someone else. He says the ability, a developed skill, actually, to vicariously put yourself in another person's shoes and try to see from their point of view, their world, their perspective. So that he gives a definition before we start because, once again, it's all about empathy. So empathetic awareness skill is the first skill. He says that this is the foundation for great communication, for great relationship, is just having empathy for other people and having the awareness of it. So he lays out 4 steps that we can take to increase our ability to be aware and to be empathetic. He says, first off, recognize your own inherent value and dignity as a person. So you just have to know yourself and recognize that I have value, I have substance in me. He says you can do so by meditation, prayer, self-reflection, inspirational books, speeches, sermons, seminars, webinars, positive self-talk. All these different things helps me to begin to understand that I have value in myself. The second step is recognize the inherent value and dignity of the other person, that they are likewise worthy of respect. And so we need to, he says, pause, reflect, adjust, and then act. So just stop and see the value in someone else. Number 3, create the desire in your mind to want to listen and relate to them, to feel and to understand them as they are. So the fourth one, think of the positives in your relationship with other people, with the other person. So think of the positive. He says, focus on seeing good in people. Don't focus on the bad. See the good. See the good. And then he says that it's in the eye of the beholder. So what you want to see is really what you're going to see. For this empathetic awareness. So moving on to the next skill, empathetic listening skill. It really asks the question, how can I listen in a way that I accurately understand the other person, such as that they feel truly heard and understood by me, especially on an emotional topic. So he throws up a harbinger that you have to be aware of what you're even speaking about there. So he gives 5 quick steps here. He says, quiet your mind and focus on the other person. Number 2, listen fully and openly. Number 3, listen through the words to the deeper thoughts and feelings that you sense from the speaker. 4, Don't interrupt them as they are speaking to you or try to finish their sentences. Just listen, he says. Number 5, say back to them in your own words what they said and their feelings that you sensed from them to make sure you understand them correctly and they feel understood. I thought that was really cool to say back what you just heard. And I also like the part of not just saying it back, the words, but also the feelings that you found. In another book, I remember the guy was talking about you as a great person. If you want to be effective in relationship and connections, you have to be able to read the feelings of someone, because most humans can't communicate in words what they feel, but feelings are stronger than words. And then he lists a few different blocks to listening, but I'll leave that to you if you want to look at that in the archive. Empathetic speaking skill. This is the question: how can I say what I want to say in a way that accurately expresses my own thoughts and feelings, and at the same time increases the likelihood the other person will be open to hear and receive it, whether it's a pleasant and agreeable topic or something we disagree on, or even something I'm upset about. So that's a very powerful thing. If you can gain that skill to be able to communicate what you think, but also what you feel. Remember, we just said that feeling is really hard to communicate, but if you can create that, man, you can really connect with anybody. So he says, step 1, clarify and organize your thoughts before you speak. Because if you speak, your intentions will not be heard. And what he talks about with the sympathetic nervous system is people will go into the fight, flight, freeze, or the fight, flight, or freeze response, which I thought was interesting. People will feel like you're attacking them. They'll feel like they need to run, or they'll just freeze and be shocked and stunned. Step 2 here, he says, express with respect. Choose your words well, and be aware of the tone of your voice. Be sensitive. He says, to the heart of the person you're speaking to. If you do, they'll be more likely to listen. Number 3, express your points clearly. What you want or need, what you feel. Don't be vague. Don't expect the other person to read your mind. Speak out, one issue at a time. I thought that was very important. Just be clear, be concrete. Don't try and beat around the bush or go here and there with it, but just boom, shoot right at it. Pause for the listener's response is step 4, and then step 5, thank them for listening to you. Thought that was really neat. Then he keeps going, goes down to the next skill, empathetic dialogue. So really all that is putting together this speaking and this listening, speaking and listening, going back and forth and having a great conversation with people. Let's see, the very final, that's actually it. That's all I had. So those are the 4 skills. I didn't want this video to be long, but I did think it was a great book to read because it brushed up on some of those things that we already know. And challenges, and puts a lot of how-tos, and also puts a lot of practical things in there that we can take from this book and actually just begin to walk out. So I thought that was really good. Here for the proposal, I actually thought there was a lot in this book that we can use. I'm not going to name most of it here. However, it'll be in the skills archive. There's a lot of different acronyms and things like that he used, and I thought was incredibly good. So for templates, he talks about the 1-day empathy challenge, and that's practice seeing people you meet today. He says, see them as a gift, a unique opportunity to grow in your heart in empathy. So if I want to become more empathetic, if I want to be more aware, he says, just put a template in your life, and this can be a tip as well. And practice empathy, practice seeing people. So that for us could be list 5 people that you intentionally felt empathetic for and list how you did that. Maybe reflect at the end of the day or so. So I thought that could be a possible template, or it could be a tip. And then the 3 A's. This as a template as well. He speaks of in another chapter, he speaks of the 3 A's, which is applaud, admire, and appreciate. So communicating that to somebody that I applaud you, I admire you, and I appreciate, and being very specific in those 3 things. I applaud you for what you just did for me, taking out the trash. I applaud you for that. Or that would actually probably be more of an appreciation. I applaud you for winning the game. I applaud you for doing the homework. I don't know. And then admire. I admire you for your character. I admire you because you always tell the truth. But one of those 3 things, or even being able to do those 3 things in the day of go applaud one person, admire another, and then appreciate another, and list why and how you did that. So there's just another possible template. And the last here proposal is the new. He gives a 12-day challenge to pick up each skill, which I thought was incredible. Very, very, very similar to our systems. So really, he talks about waking up in the beginning of the day, reading this thought. So he has this thought that I am something, and it's written similar to our thoughts, a little longer. But he says to read this thought, then perform this action, and then at the end of the day, come back and assess it for 12 days. So similar to stuff we do, but I wanted to propose perhaps we do that assessment piece at the end. So if we're doing the relationship system and we're implementing that for 3 weeks, you know how we read the thoughts for 3 straight weeks, we could also do something kind of like the energy journal template. We can do something per system where you're reflecting on each one of those templates at the end of the day and assessing them. I thought that would be really cool, and it would just increase intentionality. And it would, I believe, make it a very effective system. And it wouldn't be for the rest of your life. You're just doing that for that 21-day cycle. So this was the book, The 4 Skills. I can't even remember what the book's name is. The 4 Essential Keys to Effective Hellfire. Well, either which way, just read the title of the video and you'll figure it out. But this was a good book. Like I said, I don't recommend we read it, but it was at least good to read for myself. Talk to you later.